All right, friends, we are back at the farm and the birds are chirping and the sun is shining and I am ready to get my hands dirty. So I'm walking out to the car and we're gonna get it unloaded. So we've got all of this. So I did the math and it turns out that I purchased 1,800 onion plants. So we'll see how that goes. The plan is, like I shared earlier in the video, we're gonna plant for the family, and then I've got a couple of friends that is gonna come and harvest from the garden this year, but we're not really focusing on market gardening. But with 1,800 plants, maybe. Well, you might see some onions at the market, but what we're gonna do is plant these two beds right here behind me, or behind me in a minute. Sorry, I don't mean to make it seasick. But so we have these four, I turned them the market garden beds last year, but really they're just low, long beds. So that first bed has snapdragons in it, and then this has Savoy cabbage in it, and then these have cabbage in it. This one had kale and all of that I had started, and they were babies. And I probably could have transplanted them, but I'm just at the point to where I'm just ready to clean out and start fresh for this year, because I tried to overwinter and grow them, but we ended up having a really crazy amount of cold weather, which can still come. Here in Georgia, we can still have a frost up until the middle of April, I think is the last one that's recorded, like April. Yeah, but anyway, our last frost date is like the end of March or beginning of April, usually. But anyway, besides the point, I was gonna overwinter them. They didn't work out, and so we just went ahead. Tiana came out here and she cleaned out this bed for me, and so I'm gonna take this bed right here and this bed next to it, or I'm sorry, this bed and the Savoy cabbage bed, and clear those out. So this one will have candy onions, and the second bed will be the yellow Granex, which is like the Vidalia onion, but the Vidalia onion can only be called that when it's grown in Valdosta, Georgia, or Vidalia, I don't know. Anyway, besides the point, we can't call it that because we don't live there. So it's gonna be called yellow Granex. Granex? Why am I struggling with that? Anyway, y'all, I'm just so excited to plant that I'm kind of rushing through this intro. But the plan is to have 2 of these raised beds for our family. And then whatever is left, I'm going to plant out either here in this situation right here, intermixed with the perennials that we have there, or somewhere, because I have plenty of planting space. But I will offer some of these plants to my friends, and then I'll offer to sell the plants at the market. But I'd like to plant as many as I can, but 1,800 seems daunting, but I think it's reasonable. You know, I mean, why not? Because if I can grow food to feed people, I will. So anyway, let's get started. Okay, this is the box. I got it from Dixon Dale. Well, also I found a pen. All right, I got the box. I'm sitting down in front of the row that I'm doing here, and I just kind of wanted to show you guys how the onions come shipped. Okay, so I'm sitting down in front of this row right here, and I've got the candy onions right here. So they come shipped in this wax coated box, and these are how they come. So there's 30 of these bundles, which is so many onions. Hey Jordy, hi buddy, are you gonna help me plant onions? Are you? I bet you would if you could, huh? Yes, you would. You look like you've been into something. There's no telling with this dog. It's an unlikely farm dog right here, aren't you, Bubby? Anyway, let's focus. So this is considered an onion transplant. They are rooted. This is beautiful roots, and then they have the bulb and then the foliage. So this is, I don't know, probably like 4 or 5 months old or so. It's just, but this is considered the transplant. What they do is they mass start a bunch of seeds, and then this is like the toddler version, and they ship it out. And then when I plant it, it's going to spend a lot of energy developing roots, and then it's going to spend a lot of energy developing foliage. So when you first plant onions, the thing that you need to focus on is root stimulator and nitrogen-based fertilizer. Okay. Ooh, Shorty just knocked over my water, but so you want as many roots as you possibly can, as fast as you possibly can. Okay, so now I went ahead and mixed all of the fertilizer in there. So I'm gonna take these bundles, since I have 7 billion of them, and I'm gonna be picky. So I'm gonna go through these bundles. They're held together by a rubber band. And I'm gonna pick out the strongest ones. So this guy, see, he's got multiple foliage. And then there's this guy, which he has a few. You can look, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a few in there. These are pretty healthy size onions. And then there's this guy who is significantly smaller. So I'm gonna go through, if my hose is leaking. Do you guys have a leaky hose? Genuinely, I do not think that you can call yourself a farmer if every single thing on your property works like it's supposed to. So I am gonna pull out all the good size ones, and then I'm gonna make a pile of the smaller ones. And I was thinking, because I like to use I like for my plants to work for me, and I don't like to use chemicals or even organic products. Like, usually I put this starter fertilizer in, and then I'll use a liquid fertilizer if I'm trying to boost anything, but usually I let the soil do the soil work. And but since I have a lot of these, I'm gonna take these smaller onion plants and plant them around where I'm going to be planting some things that are susceptible to pests. So like, I'm gonna do a row back in the back of squash. I'm gonna plant some squash. So I'm gonna go ahead and pre-plant some onions in the beds that I'm gonna plant squash in, so that the onions can be developing and build up a aroma around this area that the pests are not attracted to, and just use them as pest control. If they produce, well, they'll produce an onion no matter what, it's a green onion or not. But like, see how all these are just kind of small? I'm just setting those to the side. And then I'm going to take the ones that I'm about to plant and put them in here in the water, and let the water wake up the roots so that they're not super dry when I put them in, because I want to try to get everything at the same moisture level. So I did about, in that one bundle, after separating them, I did about half, I would say. Hold on, I should have probably made a neater pile right here. So half of these I'm not going to use for this particular one, the first planting. Now I can also, which I'll probably will do this as well, I can take these onions and stick them somewhere to be transplanted later, so that it's kind of like a second wave, and I'm doing a kind of like a succession sowing just by not planting them right now. Because in Georgia where I'm at, you can do that. You know, you can plant onions for, you have quite a window to do that because they're triggered by daylight hours. And but you don't want to be planting them too late, so it'll be probably in a few weeks, maybe like at the end of February, if I decide to hang on to them to plant out. Ooh, this whole bundle is consistently smaller, so whoa, okay, you're going. So onions are one of the things that I really truly enjoy growing, mainly because onions are so used in the kitchen, and I'm starting to really love cooking. I didn't always, and actually it's very new for me to enjoy cooking. And I definitely did not like onions. I didn't like the texture of onions. It just kind of freaked me out when I crunched on them, especially unsuspecting in a dish, like a food, and then you just crunch on this big old onion. Ugh. But I'm still like, I'm trying to, look at this. Oh, that's a good one. So I'm trying to, you know, cook more, get into the kitchen more. And people were telling me, like, if you don't like onions, you should try candy onions. And I was like, I promise you, there's not an onion out there I'm gonna choose to eat. And I won't eat them like an apple. I mean, some people will. Like, some people cut them up and eat them in your beans. Do y'all do that? Do y'all just cut up your onions? And my daddy used to cut up an onion, and we'd have beans and cornbread. It was one of his favorite meals, and I would eat the beans and cornbread, and that most definitely is one of my favorite meals to this day. I could eat it all the time. But he would just eat the onion too, and but these candy onions last year, we harvested a bunch of them, and I had some kids over, and because I love to have kids over, and I just like to have people over. I just like people. But I forget what we were doing, and they asked for onion rings, and I was like, okay, and so we went in, and my daughter started preparing the batter, and we made like little petals. We cut them up. Oh my gosh, y'all, it was so good. I don't think about food. I'm not someone who thinks about food, but I think about those fried onions, of the candy onions that came out of my garden. And I was so excited because it was food that I was eating out of my garden that I was excited to eat, and the kiddos were excited to eat it too, and that just made my heart so happy. And I think that's why I ordered so many this year, because when I put in the order, I was still very excited about eating them. So hopefully I can do that this year, so prayerfully. So that's why I'm kind of going through and being pretty intentional about grabbing the biggest ones right now, because I'd like to go ahead and have these going so that I can have, like I said, the staggered planting, because they don't store so long. So if I can get as many planted as I can, and then later on have a different sowing of it, they don't have to worry about storing them for so long, because the candy onions, they don't store well. They'll go, I think I ended up having to cut them up December, so I harvested them, I want to say somewhere in September. I'll have to look through anyway, it was a lot of fun. And I want to, one of my goals this year from the garden is to host and cook from the garden. I want to grow things in my garden that I will eat, and I'm not going to be quite so market minded, because we're going to do the cut flowers for the market, and which I'm really excited about that. My daughter, she loves it, and so that's fun. It's fun to watch her fall in love with it. But I grow food because I like to grow things, right? And so practical food is a practical thing, but I am new to eating a lot of the foods that you grow in a garden. So I am going to be doing, like I tell all of my clients, I'm going to be grocery shopping in my garden this year. And so I have been really thinking and praying over what foods excite me. Like my daughter, she makes the best black bean burritos. Like one of our friends gave her the recipe and then she just kind of ran with it. And it's delicious and my husband loves it. But so I want to grow black beans. Black beans are probably one of the easiest things you can grow in a garden, and that's something that we buy at the grocery store pretty regularly. So I'll be doing that. And then onions. We eat a lot of onions, and my daughter and her husband is a chef, and he makes such good food, and he's very creative, and you can tell that he enjoys being in the kitchen, and so does Tiana. But the whole kitchen garden, having the view of a kitchen garden versus a market garden to go to market is exciting me. Like I'm very excited to plant and plan this year. Oh no. Oh, I'm getting wet. Anyway, I think this is enough separating for now. I'm ready to get my hands in the dirt. I don't know, that's a big one. Now, when you soak your onions, you don't ever want to soak them long, because then you're going through the little layers, and you don't want to rot your roots. So just soak them right when you're fixing to plant them. Yeah, get wet from this hose leaking. Okay, let's get started. So to plant your onions, you want to plant halfway through the bulb part. So like if I were going to plant this one, I would only plant it to about there where my pinky is. So you don't want to plant it too deep, because these bulbs set on top of the soil. And so you just kind of about an inch down halfway through the white part, So what I do is I flatten out all of the soil, get it all at one level, because you don't want a lot of rivets or hills or anything like that in your soil, because when you go to water, it will water unevenly. Okay, and so when I do the square foot method, it's gonna look like a die or whatever. So it would be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 type thing. But I tend to use from thumb to pinky for my spacing, so it'll be like this, but I'll show you. All right, so I'm gonna create a trench like this, and I'm gonna go 6 inches over. This is ish, okay, over, and make another trench, and then 6, and then make another trench, right, and then another trench. So it's like, see, 1, 2, 3 type thing. And then I'm actually just gonna lay out all of my onions so that I can have a pattern. And then I bury them. So they're all laid out. So now I'm just gonna take and bada bing. So boom. So I'm gonna do this down the whole line and then we'll come back after that. All right, guys, we got them planted. This bed is full, or as full as I want it. And I did the math. So this is 2 foot by 18 foot bed. And I did 120 onions here. I could have put them closer together if I wanted to, but I want to, this is what I want to do. I want to do what I want to do, okay? But what I'm going to do next is, because I added the fertilizer when I planted, that's the starter fertilizer, I'm going to water it in really well, and then I'm going to come back through and I'm going to mulch it with maybe some straw, or like I have this lemongrass debris, and then over there, I don't know if you can see it by my pool, there's like fountain grass debris and stuff. I just kind of want to pull from my own yard. I don't want to buy wheat straw or anything like that, because I know it's not treated. I know my yard is not treated. Also, I have a metric ton of leaves that I'll probably mulch it with, but I am going to mulch it. So I'm going to water it well, and then I'm going to mulch it. I'm distracted because we have, I don't know if y'all saw the video from the snow day, but we have black vultures. And there's a cow pasture behind me. There's this huge operation. It's like a beef operation. And they're so pretty. They're these pretty sweet cows. If I'm not mistaken, they're Angus beef. Stay. Splinter thinks he's a farm dog. Look, how pretty. But you see all those vultures? That's insane. I don't know if there's a poor sad cow out there or what, but they're like perched in that tree. Oh my gosh, y'all, look at the baby. It's a baby cow. I absolutely love this. Look at the cows. Can y'all hear them mooing? It makes me wonder if they're being bullies, those vultures. Or, I don't know, a cow's a big animal. I don't know what's going on. There might be a sad dead cow. I'm not sure. Like a calf. It looks like this one right here is pregnant. She looks like she's about to bust. Hi, babies. Hi, cows. That's my dog, thinking he's a cow dog. They're gonna get got. That mama gonna get you. Yeah, see, I think there's... What he's doing. They're gathered around that cow right there. But she's chasing them off. You know what? I think that's a calf that was just born, and the vultures are swarming to get the afterbirth and all that stuff. Because it looks like, I can't really zoom in with this, but it looks like the calf that's with that mama is still wet. But Splinter, quit. That cow ain't phased by that dog, not one single bit. Alright guys, they're nice and watered in, so the next step is to let them root in and grow, and I'm going to start fertilizing them once a week to try to encourage the foliage growth. And then, like I said earlier, once it starts bulbing, then I'm just going to water really well. So this is pretty easy peasy. I encourage you guys to plant onions, especially the candy ones, because they're my fave. But thanks for hanging out with me today. Listen, comment down below what your favorite onion variety is, because now that I'm an onion eater, I'm curious as to what the different flavor profiles are. So I like the candy onion. That row right there will be yellow Granax. And so you know, whatever y'all comment, I might get some more, like different types. I think I'm interested. So I don't know if I said this earlier in the video, but this is 18 foot long and 2 foot wide, and we got 120 plants in there. So 3, 6, 9, 12, that's 4 bundles of 30 that I was able to fit in this row. So that gives me the math to move forward on our open spaces back here. Sorry, I don't want to make y'all seasick. But all this back here along this fence line, and right here in what was the tomato alley last year, I'm going to be planting. And then all of that over there, from the raised beds right there to past the log beds, I'm going to be planting. So now I know how much space I need to plant out what I have. And I really honestly might just pack it out because I can. So anyway, thanks for watching today. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you guys grow you some onions, because it is one of my favorite things to grow. And if y'all have any questions, just comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.